Hello everyone, my name is Will Valida. I'm a software engineer and Microsoft Data Platform MVP based in Auckland, New Zealand, and in this video we're going to be talking about throughput in Azure Cosmos DB. This is a really important concept to understand when working with Cosmos DB for two reasons. First off, we need to understand throughput so we can provision enough compute to deal with the demands of our applications, and secondly, we're actually charged for the throughput that we provision on Azure Cosmos DB. So unless we want a really massive Azure bill to pay at the end of each month, you really need to get your head around how throughput works. So we've gone through how to model our data in Cosmos DB, and we've also discussed how partitioning works. These concepts will have an effect on the amount of throughput we need to provision, so before we start doing that and spending money that we don't need to, let's discuss what throughput is. So in this video, we'll talk about request units and get a better idea of what that is and how that relates to throughput. We'll then talk about how we can provision throughput, the different ways we can provision throughput, and discuss why we would provision throughput a certain way in Cosmos DB. We'll then talk about the differences between autoscale and manual throughput provisioning, and then I'll finish off by taking you through a quick demo on how you can provision throughput in Azure Cosmos DB. In Azure Cosmos DB, you pay for the throughput you provision and storage you consume on an hourly basis, and we need to ensure that we have enough resources provisioned on our Azure Cosmos DB account at all times. When we make operations in Cosmos DB, we use something called request units, sometimes referred to as RUs for short. Request units are the currency for throughput. This is an abstraction of system resources such as memory, CPU, and input and output operations per second required to perform these operations. We provision throughput in increments of 100 RUs per second, and we can increase or decrease the provision throughput at any time. When we perform different types of operations, the amount of request units that we consume will vary depending on a variety of different factors. And these include the size of our items, so the bigger the item, the more request units we'll need to consume when performing read and write operations for that item. Item indexing, so by default Cosmos DB indexes all of our items. We can consume fewer request units by choosing not to index some of our items. The amount of properties in our item, so as more properties appear in the items that we persist in Cosmos DB, the cost of performing operations on that item increases. The level of data consistency that we configure on our Cosmos DB account, so if we have strong or bounded staleness consistency configured for our Cosmos DB account, we can expect to consume twice as much request units when performing reads compared to the other consistency levels that are a little bit more relaxed. The complexity of our queries also affects the amount of RUs that we consume, along with the server-side scripts that we use in our applications and along with the complexity of those scripts. So in Cosmos DB, we can provision throughput either at a database level or at a container level. If we provision it at a container level, we're guaranteed throughput for that container. It receives the provisioned throughput all the time. Containers that have throughput provisioned on them are financially backed by service level agreements. Now, provided that we've partitioned our data effectively, the throughput that we provision for a container will be distributed evenly amongst its physical partitions, which will also belong exclusively to that container. So if you want guaranteed performance for a particular container, then you should consider provisioning throughput at the container level. However, we can also provision throughput at the database level. When we provision throughput at a database level, the throughput that we provision is shared amongst all the containers within that database. This is similar to hosting a database on a cluster of machines. Since we're sharing the provision throughput amongst all our containers, we can't guarantee performance for a particular container. However, it is guaranteed at the database level. The portion of throughput that a specific container can receive in this situation will depend on the number of containers, the choice of partition key for our different containers, and the distribution of the workload across various logical partitions of the containers. So now that we have an idea of what level we can set throughput at in Cosmos DB, let's talk about the different methods of provisioning throughput. First up, we can provision throughput at a hard manual level. When we manually provision throughput, we set a hard upper limit and then pay for that upper limit at an hourly rate. In order to provision throughput correctly this way, we need to ensure that we can satisfy the workload demands on our Cosmos DB account by doing capacity planning. Because as soon as we try to consume more request units than we've provisioned, we'll start to experience rate limiting. If we know that our workloads are stable and predictable, then provisioning throughput at a manual hard level is fine. However, for more unpredictable workloads, we'll need to take another approach. This is where autoscale comes in. Using autoscale provision throughput, Cosmos DB will automatically scale our throughput based on a workload range that we define, essentially allowing Cosmos DB to handle capacity while we just focus on our application code. Using autoscale, we can set a maximum throughput level that we want either our database or container to scale to, and then Cosmos DB will scale between 10% of this maximum level and the maximum level, depending on the amount of operations being executed against our database or collection. Billing is still done on a per hour basis, so we'll be charged for the highest request units level that Cosmos DB scaled to within that hour. If nothing happens, we'll only be charged for the 10% of the maximum throughput that we have defined. Alright, let's jump into a demo and see how we can provision throughput in Azure Cosmos DB. Okay, so here I am in the Azure portal. Let's start by creating a database with throughput provisioned at the database level. So what I can do is I'm in my Data Explorer, come up here, click New Database, give our database a name, and ensure that this provision throughput checkbox is selected. Let's start by setting a manual level first, so I'll just use 400 and click OK to create our database. And we can verify our throughput level in the scale and settings. So just wait for this to create. And here we go. So if we just go into the scale settings here we can see that our database was allocated with 400 request units as we specified when we created it. Now, for every container that we create underneath this database, it will share the throughput allocated at the database level. However, what we can do is create a collection with dedicated throughput within a database that has throughput allocated at the database level. So to do this, we can just create a container, give it a name, specify a partition key, and then just make sure that this provision dedicated throughput for this container checkbox is selected. And again, we can set a manual level to it, so we'll just set 400 request units and click OK. So once this is created, we now have a container inside our database with throughput allocated at the throughput level, but this container has throughput allocated specifically for this container. So this could be interesting if you have a few containers that are sharing the throughput allocated at the database level, but you might want a specific container doing specific workloads that requires its own allocated throughput, so that's just one way of doing it. Now let's take a look at creating a collection with autoscale throughput capabilities. So to do this, we can go up here, create new container. I'll use my existing database and I'll just give it a name. Autoscale hotels, give it a partition key name, and just make sure our checkbox is ticked. And instead of selecting manual, we'll select autoscale. And as we can see here, we can set the upper limit that we want Cosmos DB to scale to. When this container is idle, it will rest at 10% of this maximum value here, and will scale up to the maximum value as we've defined it as and when we need to. So that looks all good. Press OK. And once our containers are created, we can actually go into the settings and update the values, and update the amount of throughput that is provisioned on this container. So what we can do here, just open up my auto-scaled hotels container settings, and I can just update it like so. And now instead of resting at 400 request units as it was before, it's now going to rest at 500 and scale right up to 5,000. And we just click save, and that should be all good and it's updated. Fantastic. So now that we've explored how to do this in the portal, let's see how we can achieve the same results using the .NET SDK. Cool, so here we are inside Visual Studio. Now this is just a simple, straightforward C# console application. And what I've got here is in my Cosmos DB client that I've instantiated, I've defined a few string variable names here for my hotel database names and container names. And let's start off by creating a database with manual throughput provisioned onto it. So here I'm using this method create database if not exists to create a database with my database1 variable name, which will be hotel dbv1, and setting a throughput, a hard manual limit of 400 request units. And then down here I'm going to create a collection within that database. So here I've got my container, and against my Cosmos DB client I'm going to get the database, so the database that we've created earlier, create a container called container1, define the partition key path of city name, and set the throughput level to 400 request units. So if this is all successful, I'll have a database with throughput allocated of 400 request units at the database level, and then a container sitting inside that database with throughput specified for that specific container at 400 request units. And then a little further down my program, I'm going to create a database with autoscale throughput. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm creating a throughput properties object here, and using this method, create autoscale throughput to set a maximum level of 4,000 request units. And then when I'm creating my database here, I'm passing the database name of hotel dbv2 up here, and then passing through my throughput properties, so I'll have a database that can autoscale right up to 4,000 request units. And then as we're doing above with our manual throughput, we're going to create a collection inside that database that has autoscale capabilities. So I'm going to use the same throughput properties that I'm creating before, so it'll scale right up to 4,000 request units. But then I'm also creating this instance of container properties, just defining the name of the container that I want to create, along with the partition key path that I want to set. And then down here to actually create the container, I'm going to, against this database, create container, pass through my autoscale container properties and also my autoscale throughput properties. So just defining the name, the partition key path, and the maximum level that I want my container to scale up to. So let's give this a run. And I'm just printing out to the console once it's all been created. So my manual throughput has been created, and so has my auto-scaled throughput database and containers. They've been created as well. Let's head back to the portal and verify this. Cool, so here I am back in the portal. Just click refresh, and then hopefully we should see our databases and containers. Sweet, so here's my manually provisioned throughput. So if I just check the scale settings, I can see, yep, it's been scaled up to, or been set at 400 request units. Just check the container in that database. So yep, this container has 400 request units specified for it, or allocated for it, I should say. Now let's check my order scales one. So check the scale settings for my database. Yep, there's the maximum level. And I can finally check my container. And yep, it has a maximum of 4,000 request units allocated against that. Brilliant. And we can also programmatically update the amount of throughput that we've allocated to both our databases and containers via the .NET SDK as well, which is also a good option to have if we need to update the amount of throughput that we've provisioned on our databases and collections at runtime. So that was our demo on provisioning throughput in Azure Cosmos DB at both the database and collection level. So at this stage, we've covered data modeling, partitioning, and throughput. We are almost ready to jump into global distribution. Now, Global distribution is such an extensive topic within itself. I'm really considering breaking it down into multiple videos, just so we can take little bite-sized chunks at it and really get an understanding of the different components of global distribution. But before we do that, we'll need to talk about database and container design in Cosmos DB, talk a little bit about the topology of Cosmos DB, talk about how each API differs from each other when we're designing our databases and containers, and that will be the topic of my next video. So once again, thanks for listening. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the comment section below or reach out to me via Twitter. If you like this video, give it a like. If you want to see more Cosmos DB content, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.